Hello everybody. Hope all of you are doing well. We'll start with chapter 8 lesson 2, plant responses, which is the second lesson. Now we already learned that how plants process their energy, how do they make the food, how do they use that food then, and all that process. We finished it in lesson 1. In lesson 2 we're going to talk about plants responses. So imagine that you have been in a dark room and someone suddenly turned on the light. So what was your reaction? So you might have reacted by quickly shutting or covering your eyes, right? This is what is stimuli. Stimuli are exchanges in an organism's environment that causes a response. So it's a change in an organism's environment that may cause a response. Often plants' response to stimuli might be so slow that it is hard to see it happen. For example, the response might occur gradually over a period of hours or days. Light is a stimulus. A plant will respond to that stimulus by growing toward it. As you can see here in the picture, that light is a stimulus and the plant is responding to it by growing towards it. In some cases the response to a stimulus is quick, in some it is quite for example, like a Venus flytrap's response to touch. When stimulated by an insect touch, the two sides of the trap snap shut immediately, trapping the insect inside. So it depends on the environment. Now, environmental stimuli. When it is cold outside, you probably wear a sweater or a coat. Plants cannot put on warm clothes, but they do respond on their environment in a variety of ways. You might have seen trees flower in the spring or drop their leaves in the fall. So both plant responses to environmental both these are responses of plant to environmental stimuli. Now, coming to the growth responses such as tropism. Tropism is a response that results in plant growth towards or away from a stimulus. The very example that we just gave. For example, here there are two kinds of tropism. One is negative and the other is positive. So a positive tropism, for example, a plant is growing towards the root is growing towards the root is going towards the gravity, growing towards the gravity. That's a positive tropism. While on the other hand, negative tropism, you see the stem which is going against or away from the stimulus. This is a negative tropism. Now, the other thing is phototropism or light. The growth of a plant toward or away from light is a tropism called phototropism. So a plant has a light sensing chemical that helps it detect light. Leaves and stems are they tend to grow in the direction of light, as you can see here. This response maximizes the amount of light, and the plant leaves in order to make the food. Root generally grow away from light. This usually means that the root grows down into the soil and help anchor the plant. So this is phototropism. Plant going towards the light. Then you have the third environmental stimuli. Now, touch. The response of a plant to touch is called the thigmotropism. You might have seen vines growing up the side of a building or a fence. This happens because the plant has special structures that actually respond to touch. These structures are called tendrils and can wrap around a ceiling or a cling to object, as you can see here. Now, a tendril wrapping around an object is an example of positive thigmotropism. Roots display negative thigmotropism because they grow away from the object and soil, enabling them to follow the easiest path through the soil. So this was thigmotropism. We come to gravity. The response of plant to gravity is called the gravitopism. Now, stems grow away from gravity while roots grow towards gravity. Okay, now this here example, you can see that both responses, no matter how a seed lands on soil, whether it starts to grow, its roots grow down into the soil and the stem grows up. This happens even when a seed is grown in a dark chamber, indicating that these responses can occur independently of light. Okay, then we have the flowering responses. Photoperiodism. You might think all plants respond to light, but in some plants, flowering is actually a response to darkness. For example, the phototropism. Phototropism is a plant's response to the number of hours of darkness in this environment. Scientists hypothesized that photoperiodism was a response to light. Therefore, these flowering responses are called long day, short day, and day neutral, and related to the number of hours of daylight in a plant's environment. For example, long day plants that flowers when exposes to less than 10 to 12 hours of darkness are called long day plants. The carnations, for example, shown here, are example of long day plants. This plant usually produces flowers in summer when the number of hours of daylight is greater than the number of hours of darkness. On the other hand, you see the short day. The short day plants they require actually 12 or more hours of darkness for flowering to begin. An example of short day plant is the Poniaster shown here. These are the flowers that grow in late summer or early fall when number of hours of daylight is decreasing and the number of hours of darkness is increasing. Then you have the day neutral plants. These flowerings are actually plants that doesn't seem to be affected by the number of hours of darkness. Day neutral plants flower when they reach maturity and the environmental conditions are right. Plants such as the roses are day neutral plants. Now, apart from the environmental stimuli, plants also have chemical stimuli. Plants respond to chemical stimuli. Plant hormones are substances that act as chemical messengers within plants. These chemicals are produced in tiny amounts, called messengers, because they usually are produced in one part of a plant and affect another part of that plant. So let us talk about auxins first. The auxin molecules, what do they do? One of the first plant hormones discovered was auxin. There are many different kind of auxins actually. They generally cause increased plant growth. They're responsible for phototropism, the growth of a plant towards light. They concentrate on the dark side of a plant stem, and these cells grow longer. This causes the stem of the plant to grow towards the light, as you can see here in this picture. Okay, now second, the ethylene is a plant hormone. This hormone helps stimulate the ripening of fruit. Actually, ethylene is a gas that can be produced by fruits, seeds, flowers, and leaves. You might have heard someone say that one rotten apple spoils the whole barrel. So this is based on the fact that rooting fruits release ethylene. This can cause other fruits nearby to ripen and possibly root. So this is what this hormone can cause plants to drop their leaves also. So it's also an important hormone for the plants. Then we come to the another hormone, which is called the gibberellin. This hormone is responsible for the rapid growth areas in the plant, such as roots and stems. Okay, these hormones increase the rate of cell division and cell elongation, and due to this, the result is increase in the growth of stem and leaves. Gibberellin also can be applied to the outside of plants. As we can see here, applying this hormone to plants can have a dramatic effect. For example, root tips. Now, another kind of hormone, cytokinins, which is another type of hormone. Xylem actually carries cytokinins to other parts of a plant. This hormone increases the rate of cell division, and in some plants this hormone slows the aging process of flowers and fruits. So basically, plants produce many different hormones, and the hormones that we just read about are a group of similar compounds. Often two or more hormones interact and produce a plant response. Scientists, although, are still discovering new information about the plant hormones. We come to the last part of the lesson: humans and plant response. You know that we depend on plants for food, fuel, shelter, and clothing. We need plants to be more productive using plant hormones. We use now some crops now are easier to grow because humans understand how they respond to hormones. There is a assignment that I will give you about this to find out how can humans benefit from understanding and using plant responses. So if you all can research on that how humans can benefit from understanding and using plant responses, and attach it to the Pioneer and send it to us. This was lesson 2 for all of you, and thank you for watching. Please solve your homework, lesson review, plus the workbook also for lesson 1 and lesson 2 both, and you can attach it to the email and send us. I'll send you the homework. After we finish the chapter, I'll send you back the answers in a link to check your answers. Thank you very much again.